One of my favorite browser APIs is a little known one called WebUSB. WebUSB is an API that allows web applications to communicate with USB devices without the need of having a native driver or middleware installed. And as you might imagine, this opens up a whole new universe of possibilities for developers, making hardware more accessible than ever through the web. The first time I interacted with WebUSB was around 2017 when Chrome shipped its first implementation. At the time, I was developing a web-based point-of-sales app that interacted with printers over a local network connection. However, network conditions could be kinda unstable in the field, leading to many frustrations and after-hours support calls. And all this led me to investigate USB connectivity. Now, since we were web-based, we basically had two options. Number one was to create an Electron wrapper, or God forbid, a native app. And number two was to make the USB connectivity work in the browser. And after some initial research, I landed on WebUSB. What makes this API so beautiful is its simplicity. All the complexity of interacting with USB peripherals is abstracted away by the browser. At its core, WebUSB leverages the browser as a bridge to the USB devices. And with just a few lines of JavaScript code, your webpage can interact with these devices. First, you need to request a device from the browser, and you can do so after the user interacted with an element. This will prompt the user to select a device, and you can optionally filter the list by passing in a filter parameter. Once the user selects a device, you can claim the necessary interfaces and start interacting with them. So in the code shown here, we loop over every available interface and claim it. A device may have multiple interfaces, for example, a printer and a scanner interface. And finally, we can transfer our data out to the device. WebUSB requires a secure context for operation, and this means your website needs to be served over HTTPS, with localhost being the exception. Using USB devices in a browser through WebUSB sounds like a great idea, but what can we do with it? I've been using WebUSB for communicating with thermal printers in point-of-sales applications on Android tablets and Windows computers. And there are several other practical use cases, like the programming of Arduino boards or even doing a device firmware upgrade, all from within a web page without drivers. WebBluetooth is conceptually the same as WebUSB, but instead of focusing on USB devices, it focuses on Bluetooth-enabled devices. The connectivity method is slightly different, as the browser now has to take care of the discovery and the pairing of the Bluetooth devices. Even though WebUSB and WebBluetooth are not part of any official W3C spec, I've been using it in production since 2017 without any major issues. Both of these specs are developed and maintained through the Web Incubator community group. Despite its potential, WebUSB still comes with a whole set of challenges in 2024, such as browser compatibility, bugs, and quirks. One annoying quirk on Windows devices is that you sometimes have to replace the driver of the peripheral through WinUSB through a tool called Zadig. This in turn can then break other integrations on the system that might have relied on the original driver. In conclusion, WebUSB saved me a ton of development time over the past few years, and I'm happily introducing it into new projects wherever I can. Now, if you find this video helpful or insightful, give it a thumbs up and consider subscribing. I hope you enjoyed watching, and I will see you in the next one.